So this is why you don't go hanging around in backcountry woods all by yourself. I'm an example. I live in an area with a whole bunch of ass-backwards country woods, and you don't see my ass going out there, and because of that, I am here to talk to you today. Ravage, pretty badass name, is brought to us by director Teddy Grennan and stars Annabelle Dexter-Jones as Harper. Harper is a nature photographer trying to get some shots of some rare animals in an expansive forest called the Wachitumi Valley. One day she accidentally happens across some guys torturing the fuck out of some guy. She gets a few pictures of them, and contrary to horror movie rules, she gets the fuck out of there ASAP. But of course, it ain't that easy, Harper. It ain't that easy. Upon being captured by these sadistic fuckheads, she is ravaged and left for dead. I don't know if she's really left for dead, but they do leave her tied up in a barn all kind of fucked up, and it seems as if they plan on coming back and doing more wrong to her. But being the resourceful person she is, she escapes and takes off into the woods. And from here, we follow a brutal tale of survival as she is hunted down relentlessly until she finally decides to fight back and get a little bit of revenge. Ravage is a brutal survival revenge tale, and that's a story that we can all get behind. If nothing else, we all like seeing when someone is wronged horribly, they come back and get their bloody revenge. It's a tale as old as time, and we've seen it a million times. But even though we've seen this kind of story countless times before, when done right, a revenge tale is one of the best tales you can have. And Ravage, for the most part, does pretty good. Our story, as I said, is fairly basic. Woman wronged, like really wronged. She goes on the run for survival until she's pushed to her limits and comes for revenge. That's it. But with this kind of movie, that's all we really need. They make it very easy to dislike the villains in this movie. They're despicable people with little to no redeeming quality. So seeing one of them getting taken out is fairly satisfying. Speaking of that taking them out part, this movie is gory, but it often implies more than it actually shows. And that is fairly effective for the most part, but I wouldn't have minded having just a little bit more gore. Call me crazy, but in my violent revenge tales, I like to see some blood and guts. Which we do, but not quite as much as I was expecting. And that probably has to do with the budget. This is a fairly low budgeted film, which is probably why we don't get as much gore and effects in this movie. And I will commend them on that. They did stay within the limits of their budget. I've mentioned before that oftentimes these types of movies will overextend themselves beyond what they're able to do. And while the ideas they're trying to show us on screen may sometimes be cool, they come off as lackluster because they don't have the money and budget to do it properly. Here, I think they realize this is what we can do, so we don't need to do any more. I got the feeling that they wanted to do more, but I think they made the good judgment to not overexceed their budget. There's one effect involving someone's head that is slightly shady, but it's only shown for like 1 or 2 seconds, so it's not really that big a deal. Overall, what we get, while limited, is all good. It works very well within the confines of this story. While with this kind of movie, I think that a little more would have made the experience all that much better, what we got does work. Our main character, Harper, is a character that we can get behind. She's not a stupid damsel in distress. She actually makes really good calls in this movie. A lot of the times you'll be watching this kind of movie and characters make decisions and you're just wondering, what the fuck are you thinking? Why are you doing that? But not here. The vast majority of decisions that she makes in this movie do actually make sense. Save one, and I did think it was kind of a big one. While this is a revenge tale, it's also a survival tale, and her ultimate goal here is to get out of this valley and back to civilization. So without spoiling anything, she has at least 2 opportunities to take on a mode of transportation that is motorized. However, on both occasions, she just doesn't even make an attempt to do this, and I just totally don't get why the fuck that is. And on the second occasion, not only does she not take that opportunity, but she decides instead to make a makeshift raft and go down river. Now, if the only option she had here was to make this raft and go down river, that's fine. I'd have no fucking problem with it. But when you have an opportunity right there of motorized transport and you say, you know, fuck that shit, I'm gonna make a fucking raft. I have to call into question your decision-making skills. It doesn't ruin the movie or anything, but these were 2 moments in the movie that I was really just wondering, what are you doing? What the fuck? Why are you walking away from that? Beyond that, though, she makes very good decisions. She doesn't leave stuff behind. She stocks up as she goes, and she just overall makes decisions that I feel like I probably would in that situation. The only other 2 characters we really get much out of here would be Robert Longstreet's Revener, as the leader of these shitfucks that are trying to get Harper, Harper, and Bruce Dern in a small role later on in the movie. Robert Longstreet's Revener is a good villain. This is a guy you really don't like from the onslaught. He's a shithead and you want to see him get his. He's decidedly slimy, villainous, and just pretty fucking evil at times. However, that's pretty much all he is. We don't really get much more from this character. But in this kind of movie, that's all we really need from this character. We need him to be despicable enough for us to hate and want to see his brains get bashed the fuck in. And in that, he is successful. This character is definitely someone you want to see get his fucking brains bashed in. Bruce Dern, no surprise, does a standout job here with his character. I don't really want to say much about his character because it could lead to some spoilers later into the movie, but just know that when he does finally show up on screen, although a limited amount of time, he makes that limited amount of time one of the bright spots in the movie. Overall, there's not any bad performances here. They're all fine. They work very well for this kind of movie. Now, there is one thing about this movie, if nothing else, that is really fucking good, and that's the score. It is fairly limited, but the main theme that plays quite a bit throughout the movie is pretty fucking awesome. It gets your blood pumping in just the right way and has this visceral, carnal, violent feel to it. I really enjoyed it, and it stuck with me for some days after I had seen the movie. The composer is Jacques Brotberg, formerly of the band Phantom Planet. Now, I don't know if the guy's done any other movies. I couldn't find much more information about him online, but I'm definitely interested to see or hear about anything else he does in the future. Because this score, while yes, basic, was fucking awesome and totally conveyed the feeling, the energy, and everything going on screen in this movie. It's like a character unto itself and almost makes it worth checking out the movie just for that. Now, while I was really enjoying this movie, the ending did leave me a little unsatisfied. Now, let's get something clear. There's something that happens in the end of this movie to a person that is just really fucked up. Like, the person who thought this up is an extremely twisted individual. Like, it's super fucked up. The thought of this particular thing happening and being done to another person is just fucking sick. So from that point of view, the ending was really good. I was not in a million years expecting that to happen. And my problem with the ending is not really this thing happening. I was fine with that. Totally cool with it. Well, not like totally cool with the act, but totally cool with it being in this movie. My issue was more with what we didn't get than what we did get. I can't really go into any detail without, of course, spoiling the movie, but once you see it, I think you'll understand. Now, the ending is good. I enjoyed it, but like I said, I was just a bit unsatisfied because I wanted a little bit more of something. Speaking of wanting more of something, I wish there was just a little bit more of that rage-fueled payback. Now, it's here, we do get it. That's for fuck sure. These motherfuckers rage out on each other at points. But I wanted just a touch more in some spots of some of that gratuitous, violent, rage-fueled revenge. But I suppose that some of that comes down to the budget and what they were and were not able to show on screen. So with what I got, I guess I am okay with. Guys, at the end of the day, Ravage was a good time. Not a good time, that sounds really bad. There's some fucked up shit that happens in this movie, but the movie was entertaining. How about that? It had solid enough performances, an entertaining story, and a main character that you can really relate with and get behind. And there were just enough surprises, especially in the end, to keep you interested. And while you may not give this movie much thought beyond the time that you actually watch it, if you do decide to watch it, it is absolutely worth checking out on streaming.
Across the street.
This was a well-told little revenge tale. And while it may not be the best revenge story ever told, if you're looking for a solid revenge tale for the night, check this one out. So there it is, guys, my review of Ravage. If you enjoyed, want more content like this, hit the subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Wakatumi Valley. I did enjoy this movie overall, but I just can't get past that moment that really bothered me that I mentioned earlier. I mean, you're running for your fucking life. You have been all kinds of fucked up and been through some really screwed up situations at this point. You're in the middle of the fucking woods, you have nothing, you are being hunted the fuck down. And your options are a motorcycle or a bunch of fucking trash that you can construct a raft out of. I'm not seeing that there's an option here. I'm seeing that there's one fucking distinct choice and that's it. But no, fuck a motorcycle. I'm gonna take a plank of wood and some fucking 50-gallon drums and go all fucking Huck Finn down the goddamn river. Bitch, please, what the fuck were you thinking? You deserve to die at that point.